Welcome to another exciting episode of Please Dunk Responsibly. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Rice. With me, as always, my co-host,
Phil Webster. Oh my God, the season is ending. What are we gonna do?
I feel like we should do a season wrap-up episode.
Yes, of course. That only sounds right.
Do the hack job. It's a hack-a-shack for the end of the NBA season. But wait, we've got an exciting announcement. The playoffs are starting.
Yes. Everything just wraps up as you're listening to this. There's some exciting, contentious spots that will remain, but it's going to be, oh man. Are the Lakers in the playoffs? Are they not? Or are they playing the play-in game? Are they not in the play-in game? You'll know when you're listening to this.
But we won't know as we're talking about it. Because if there's one thing we're good at, it's planning. Tomorrow, not possible to record an episode. There are
we are the best
so many things in the air. First place in the West. Who's going to be in the play-ins? There's a three-way tie for the 8th seed in the East. Do we know who's going to win those? We don't. Will you know when you're listening? You will.
Who's the 3 and 4 seed? We don't. No. But yes, you will. You will.
We can guess who those will be.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to be right.
We're probably going to do that.
We're probably going to be right, too.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we're
probably going to be right.
Going to get out our prognostication balls and
we've been doing it.
Yep.
As we said, Chris Paul, we knew, be a playoff team, number 1 seed. We knew that was going to happen. I mean, we said it in our first podcast when we brought him on. We were like, Chris Paul makes sense for the Suns, doesn't make sense for Chris Paul, but why not? You're going to make the playoffs now.
Yep, score 15 points a game, 9 assists, and going for that number 1 seed. Ooh.
Yes, makes Booker completely offense. He doesn't have to worry about anything else. He gets to take care of the ball. And they look, again, like the Thunder did. Chris Paul just proves it time and time again, is that dude is a baller. He can play. He's so underrated. He just needs that championship.
Yep, and he's got his new DeAndre, so, you know.
Yeah, exactly. He's got
literally the same guy. Just put the same guy in there again.
Just big, tall guy jump. That's all I need.
Yeah. Give him the same name. Don't even bother. Like, don't make Chris have to learn a new name. Just, it's DeAndre again. It's DeAndre. You're fine. Roll to the hoop. I'll find you. Grab your rebounds. Play some defense.
Yes, grab rebounds. I'll make sure you get at least 5 dunks a game. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Don't even worry about it. You'll be fine. Yeah.
Suns look good. Jazz look good.
Yep.
Lakers rejuvenated. Healthier than they were. Happy. Probably played us the whole time. They're going to be a 7 seed that ends up winning the whole thing.
At this point, LeBron needs something to be like, look, I'm the best. I brought a 7 seed to the championship. What more do you want from me?
It won't work. It won't work for the people who already don't believe it at the S4 championships. But yeah, it's not only beating like the most perfect team in basketball down 3-1. That's not good enough for you.
Nope.
Bringing a team who's like never won a championship, won them a championship, going to a new place where they do nothing but win championships. He wins a championship with them. No, it's not that. It's being the 7th seed and beating a stacked Western Conference.
That's what will finally get him in the conversation.
Yes. Then we'll be like, well, okay, you're not there, but you're 2.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, LeBron James's legacy is in collaboration with really bad players on an original Cleveland Cavaliers team, a collaboration with a bunch of all-stars with the Miami Heat, a collaboration with Kevin Love, a love collaboration, you know.
Love collab, yeah.
A love-hate collab when you bring in Kyrie. And then another collaboration with Anthony Davis. I keep using this word collaboration as if there's some reason.
I wonder why.
Oh, yeah. On this basketball and beer podcast.
What is the other thing that we do on here? Oh, yeah, we drink beer and we talk about beer. What are we drinking, Ben?
Oh,
what
my
are
goodness.
you drinking?
What am I
tell
drinking?
you what I'm drinking.
Well, let's tell you, the number 1 collaboration in this podcast, it's you and me, Phil.
Oh,
That's the collaboration.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
If they could see this, I'd be blushing right now.
Yeah. But the lighting's terrible, so I can't even tell.
The lighting's terrible. Good thing they can only hear this.
You can only hear it. Yeah.
We have, what did they say? Face for radio?
Yes.
That's what we have.
I've been hearing it my whole life. Only recently gained the voice. So for me, I'm drinking a collaboration between Karl Strauss Brewing and Beachwood Brewing. I believe, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the fact Karl Strauss is in San Diego. Beachwood, I believe, is in Los Angeles. So a little...
They are.
Yeah, so a couple hours
very close
collab.
But yes.
So we've got an IPA.
In the same vicinity.
We've got an IPA called Riders on the Storm. And it features things that you would expect from these guys. So Karl Strauss makes some classic IPAs, red ales, and a Pilsner people really love. But this one, they're using Amarillo and Mosaic hops. Phil, we discussed this off air, and I discuss it constantly on my beer podcast, Barley and Me. That's a shout out for it.
Yes, you do.
I hate Mosaic hops.
He does.
But
he's alone on the island by himself.
But Karl Strauss,
he's there.
Mosaic Session IPA is phenomenal. So I'm excited about this because they know what they're doing with that hop. And then Beachwood, they have their Amalgamator IPA, which is one of my favorites.
So good. It's probably my favorite beer that they do. And I actually get all the time. I mean, I don't get to go down there, obviously, very often, but very good.
And the thing, when I was reading their stuff on it, what makes it a little bit different is they include some honey malt to give it a little added sweetness and crispness. And here in this Riders on the Storm, they also use honey malt. So I'm getting my favorite thing from Beachwood, honey malt. I'm getting my favorite thing from Karl Strauss, Mosaic, put together in a beer.
It's got to be delicious. It's one of the best collabs of all time, you think?
You'd think it would be. It's got all the elements that you want. It's a solid IPA, but it's not really singing the way that I was hoping it would sing out with all that stuff going on. But I definitely drank it again. I'm not going to
I love those two breweries. I mean, they're both, iconic old school breweries. They've been doing it before beer was really cool. They have solid, normal, single IPAs, Pilsners. They do, really good old school style beers, really, really good, easy drinking beverages in that hot sun in Southern California. Yeah. So they take care of a lot of people out there. I love them both.
Yeah, you throw me on a beach with this bad boy, I'll drink it for sure. That citrus is starting to shine through on the back end. 7%, so it hides that really well. Sips more like a 5-6. So, yeah.
Nice.
But I feel like, Phil, you might be drinking a different beer.
Oh, I am. I'm also drinking a newer collab, fresh off the presses. It looks like it's a Hop Homies collection from our friends at Claimstake. They did a West Coast double IPA with Weathered Soul, infamous, one of the most famous brewers of the culture of COVID. And everything that's going on. Marcus from Weathered Soul and Claimstake, Brian Palmer, they came together. They're both from Rancho Cordova area. And they came out with this beer that they just did it together called Hop Homies. And it's a West Coast double IPA, and it is so smooth. It has a bajillion hops in it. So it cannot be remade. It is Mosaic, Summit, Idaho 7, Amarillo, which I hadn't had in a while, which is delicious, and Strata, which I could take or leave. But together, it adds a really complex, a throwback West Coast IPA, but it's very sweet for a double IPA. And it comes in at an 8.4, but it does not taste that way at all. It does not taste super big. Very easy to drink. Delicious. Delicious.
Both of those guys make incredible beers. It's nothing. It's just so simple for them to do it.
They are.
It's not even fair.
Those guys are in their wheelhouse. They love, Brian loves West Coast style. I know Marcus has been dealing more in Pilsners and
a stout
flavored beers lately. But he's killing it. Yeah, and the stout that he's kind of known for that's nationwide and being sold in Walmart, which is insane. Which you can take Walmart, leave it or not, but it's a national chain that's carrying a beer that is like made in a small town of San Antonio. That's fucking amazing. So, yeah, man, like this beer is great. If you want to get just an inspiration of what Weller's Soul is about, get this beer from Claimstake. It's very, very, very good. It's definitely in our canning trays of things to get.
Oh yeah,
coming up. So good. Very balanced double IPA. You'll love it.
Yeah, this episode will have spoilers. These two are going in on our canning trays. We only got to pick one more. You know, we're simple guys. You know, we're going to telegraph a lot of things. We're not good point guards.
Yes.
We're going to telegraph all these passes.
If you listen to this show at all, it's give and go all the time. We neither of us want to rock. We're just trying to make the other one look good, and in the process, neither of us do. Yeah. Sometimes that's just how it works. Like, it's okay. We're doing it. That's what we do.
Yeah, but sometimes we look amazing. We're just canning trays over and over again. 3-D wings. Can you win a championship with just those? Probably. Honestly, you probably could.
Yeah. Oh, decently, yes. Now, so who are some of our top 3 best collabs in basketball of all time?
Oh, man. Of all time, just collaborate. All right. I'm going to make the obvious one. I'm going to just throw it out there. We all know it. It's super easy. It's Bill Russell and Bob Cousy.
Yeah, everybody saw that.
You all saw that coming.
Everybody saw that coming, yes.
The prototypical scoring point guard and defensive big that we know and love throughout the years. It's how every championship team has been built since the dawn of time. They all want that Coos factor.
Oh, yes. They were, obviously, Boston has some great duos. 3 or 4 guys on the team. You could have picked any 2.
Yeah.
They are historically great at getting really good athletes, teammates to work together. Obviously, we have Jordan and Pippen. I feel like
who are these?
Maybe I don't know. They're small town guys.
Okay,
they're from the West,
the Midwest. Hardworking.
Hardworking guys. They only won 6 championships.
Yeah.
Only together, never
years.
apart.
Yeah,
they both had chances, and neither could win without the other. But together, they were one of the most unstoppable duos ever in the history of the game. So,
not ringing a bell.
I know. Sorry, it happens.
Can you name somebody a little bit more mainstream? Is there another collaboration
from your part of town? Maybe one of your favorite teams of all time.
Oh no, you can do it.
You know where I'm probably going with this. It's got to be Gary Payton
and Ben
Sean
Baker?
Kemp.
Oh.
The Thunder from Down Under, Dunkers, the glove. Gary Payton, the Rain Man. These guys are doing, they were making stuff happen in the small part of, the Pacific Northwest when nobody knew that there was even basketball there. And they were, just changing the game. And that is what was what everybody was trying to be. If you weren't trying to be, because you knew you weren't going to get a Jordan, you needed to get a good point guard and a very athletic big of some sort, whether it be a power forward or center that you could just lob it up to. I really do think Gary Payton and Sean Kemp were, what if John Stockton and Karl Malone, but with a higher ceiling and a lower basement? It really is. From a rougher part of town. Yeah. You needed those two from a rougher part of town. If you you can't have guys that got straight A's. Yeah. You needed some guys that struggle a little bit. So how often did John Stockton score 30 points? How often did Karl Malone score 50 points? Rarely. But you could have Payton and Kemp go off for 40 on the same night. And it's entirely possible. It was never possible with Stockton and Malone. It was never going to be possible for those two to do that. No. So there's a little bit more of they won't be as consistent, but they can take you higher. Yes. you knew what Stockton was good. What was beautiful about Stockton is that you knew what he was going to do, and he still did it beautifully.
Still did it.
Like he could have easily been like a double guy forever. Like he could have got easily 10 points, 10 assists, but you knew he was going to pass it, and he still gave 15 assists a game. Like there was just nothing you could do about it. Like that guy was so good at the art of it, so good at being like faster than most, and he had no ego. Like and he had a chip on his shoulder. He ran through screens. He did some things like Utah doesn't get enough credit, man. They had some bangers. It was Utah, so nobody's rooting for the Jazz here. Nobody. That's just hard to do. It's hard to do, but these guys were legit. And if there was an upper echelon Hall of Fame, which we've talked about, those two would be in it. Like they're there.
Not
they're
even.
there.
Yeah, if
they're not with Chris Mullin. They're not with Tim. Like these guys don't. They're in the Kobe Bryant echelon Hall of Famers. They're not. They're not.
If there's a Hall of Fame for tandems, they're the top one. Okay, that's nope. Jordan Pippen, sorry, and probably Cousy Russell probably beats him out too. But
they're in there too.
They're in there, and it's no shame in the game of being number 3 in the best tandems in NBA history.
Yes, we haven't even gotten to some of the other best in the group.
Right, but what about the best tandems today? The teams that are fighting for playoff spots for a championship in 2020-2021 season.
Oh, you love saying that. Yes.
I hadn't said it in a few episodes. I need to get it in there.
2021 NBA season. Yes, we got Russell Westbrook now, Beal coming together, making that work, making it look weird, but nonetheless making it work. You got the Nets. I don't even know if they're a tandem.
What's their tandem?
None of them are together. Yeah, none of them have been together long enough to make it work. So, like, it's is it a tandem?
I don't think it is.
Is it just like a colluded mess?
I think it's just a bunch of unicycles that occasionally look like they're a bicycle.
They get together at the right point.
Yeah,
they look.
You're like, got a bike
okay,
on.
I see how that works.
It's just more unicycles.
No, it's just 4 guys just running around with one wheel. It's very weird. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I can put them as anything as a tandem there. There's just not enough games to have a tandem.
No, it's not.
And they're mixed results. They're really not. Like, them playing alone, great. Give one of them the floor. I don't know. Tandems, I mean, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, obviously, killer.
Oh, man. Like, yeah, they're back. They're healthy. Watch out. Everybody will say that he was kind of sandbagging, which I do believe a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's old.
LeBron needed to rest. Yeah, he needed to rest one way or another. We had talked about this in the previous podcast. There's too much stuff. There was just too much playing. Not enough rest in between. And then they're jumping right at it and with extra games. Like, no, he's not going to play. He might play the first 20 games, but he was going to make sure that he took some time off, and I'm glad that he did. Anthony Davis did, and they're looking ready. Like, at least they're not. He's not going to lose in the first round. LeBron doesn't lose in the first round.
I'm looking. I'm like, what are the other tandems in the NBA? And I'm looking, and there's really nothing that pops out as like a strong tandem. Nothing. I'm like,
no. Like, will we say Booker and Paul?
Would we though?
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's been 1 year. It's been 1 year. Yeah, exactly. Like,
Embiid, Simmons.
It's hard to tell. Like, those. Yeah.
They're better.
They've been the longest together. I know it's
but they're better.
But they're
apart.
number one.
So
I know when one's hurt, they play better. Yes.
Are we doing Giannis?
Addition by subtraction.
None of these duos are like you need no. The NBA has become positionless. You need a lot of players playing together. The idea of a tandem. That's why we have the big threes now. It just
right. That's why it's not the big twos because you need to have several guys that can get you 20 at any given time. That's kind of how they built the system. That it's not if one or two is not enough. Like if somebody gets hurt, like. Couple years ago when Chris Paul was on the Rockets and they were on the precipice of beating the Warriors. They don't beat the Warriors because Chris Paul hurts his hurts his leg. He's done for the rest of the series, maybe the season. And they had 2 games left to close them out. And everybody knew Harden didn't have it by himself. And they got ran out the gym. Like,
yeah. This is a very short segment. Best tandems in the NBA. There's 2 of them. And one's struggling for the 8th seed. And one's
in the 10th seed.
One was hurt the whole time. Like, and then there's a team that might be a tandem or a tricycle, or that's not called. That's not what it's called. That tricycle is different. Anyway, but yeah, it's a mess out there.
Yes, it is a mess out there. I agree with you. It shows, like, again, the eras and what's changed in the league. You have to get whatever is out there to compete, and you're just trying to form, again, like your version of a big 3 or a big 4. But yeah, I think the Nets are the most convoluted team in the league. It's like, what are they? Are they good? Are they not good? They're good separate. Are they good together? We have no idea.
Yeah, another good tandem is Nikola Jokic versus rim. I guess is like anybody going to the rim, driving to the, like, cutting to the rim when he's got the ball in his hands, him taking a shot at the rim, him defending the rim this year. I don't know. That's not really a tandem for a team, you know?
No, I would say him and Murray, but Murray's hurt, and they seem to be playing better without him. It's not and of course, like, Murray's great. I don't know what you do without him. They're going to probably not make it as far without him, but they're a deep team, so they're going to give it a run.
Yeah,
but they're not a tandem.
Yeah, is it Gobert Mitchell? No,
Mitchell. Is it Mitchell? Yeah, Gobert Mitchell.
Oh,
old school, kinda.
Really.
I would rather have Grandmama, Larry Johnson, and Muggsy Bogues. Like, if you're gonna do.
I know we disrespect Alonzo Mourning regularly here, but come on.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to give it the tandem to Bogues?
I'm throwing him out. I'm telling you, I'm giving it to Bogues. Somebody's got to get them the rock, baby. Yeah. Somebody's got to get them the rock.
Yeah. McCollum Lillard, still a classic tandem, I think.
Sure, I think they're a tandem. They're up there. Yeah, I think they unfortunately get this lost in the fray.
That's enough of this. There's not enough tandems in the NBA to carry on this conversation. We're talking about tandems. They're hard to come by nowadays.
They're hard to come by nowadays. It's different. Yeah,
nobody's giving out award for best teammates. That's not how the NBA works. We focus on team or individual.
Or
these tandems mean
nothing.
They mean nothing. Other than, like, the 1993 All-Star game, whatever the hell that was, where John Stockton and Karl Malone were co-MVPs. It's never mattered, and the All-Star game MVP doesn't matter. So nobody's doing that. So let's get down to the real business at hand, the 2020-2021 NBA season awards.
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah. Who do you have as MVP?
The same person you do.
Yeah, I will, probably. You're talking about Jokic, I would assume.
It's Jokic. He played every game. He's near the top of the leaderboard in every statistical category. He wasn't hurt for 35 games. His team's near the top of the league. He's gotten better as a defender. Everybody loves him.
He's a better defender. He's a
slim
better
down
offensive
beast.
player. He was always good. He was always really good. But you didn't know how good he was because he had, again, a really deep team. Nuggets had done really good at drafting the last 2 or 3 years. Really got him some help. I think this is his time to shine. This is his 1 year. This is his Nowitzki year to get the MVP when everybody else is struggling or hurt.
Yeah.
This is your year. Unfortunately, we always thought it was going to be LeBron's year. This is going to be LeBron's coming out, but he missed 35 games, which, again, I'm sure he would never ask for back in order to be ready for the playoffs. Yeah. He would take that every year. He'll sacrifice every MVP trophy, every scoring title to keep winning championships. So I am not mad at that at all.
Yeah, and we've got Giannis exhaustion. We're tired of Giannis. He hasn't come through in the playoffs. Why should we give him another MVP? He was also healthy the whole year for the most part. But
yes,
I mean, everywhere we looked,
his team is worse than it was last year. He's not. He's still great, but you only win when you're that most valuable player, and when he's missed games, they've won just as much because they have a good stacked team. It's just not. It's not the same.
And the real MVP, Chris Middleton.
Yes, which we always have. Yeah. Hashtag Chris Middleton, real MVP.
Yeah. I mean...
so who is Jokic in a beer to you?
Jokic in a beer is going to give you everything you want. He's going to give you power, flavor, finesse, a sweetness, and he's going to offend some people.
Oh, my God. Are you going to do what I think you're going to do?
I don't think I am.
We're going to be close, I think.
Okay.
Let's see. Where you go.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Because this is one of my favorite beers. It's a super weird style. He's a point center, so I feel like I can slide this one in there. I'm going to call him a Sudwerk Three Best Friends, which is their coffee, vanilla, chocolate lager.
Interesting.
It gives you everything you want. It's got the roasting of the chocolate and the coffee. It's got that
but it's light,
made light of the lager. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I do like that. That's not where I was going, though.
I was struggling.
But I was going with a tropical IPA.
Oh.
One of my favorite beers, if not my favorite IPA to drink. It's very close between 3 beers, which I'll go after I name this, is that I think Jokic is Maui Wowie from Altamont. It's a very tropical, give you all the flavors, very impactful beer without as much bitterness for those who don't like that as much, but does have a hint, but then also incredibly easy to drink.
Yes.
Uses some of our favorite, my favorite hops. Mosaic gives off a lot of tropical notes for people who can taste it.
Or green onion.
Or not. Yeah, if you can't taste the pineapple, you get green onion. That's a flaw that happens, I think, in what happens. But yeah, it's delicious. Altamont makes fantastic beers. They just like Claimstake, they try to stay the West Coast way. They're very much staunch on that. Not going hazies, and I appreciate that. Just like anything, it's like you do what you do best. So as much as it's a business, it's still an art, and do what you love, do what you're good at, and I respect Altamont for that. My other 2 in my top 3 would be just outstanding. From it's blanking on me now as I'm thinking of it. And Mai Tai IPA
from Alvarado
by
Street.
Alvarado Street, which is another one, which is just outstanding.
Is that Kern River?
Is from Kern, yes. Kern River, one of my favorite, easily one of my favorite. Another one that I feel like they don't label themselves as a tropical IPA, but has those characteristics of a fruit-forward IPA. That is easy to drink, knock you on your butt after 2 or 3 of those bad boys. And, it's good. It's hard to find, but when we get lucky and it comes up Sacramento way, find it.
Yeah. And, just a little bit of crossover here. I'm going to be releasing an episode of Barley and Me with Troubadour Malting and Horse and Dragon Brewing in Fort Collins on Monday. Same day this episode drops. And just so you know, we talked about this podcast extensively, and they wanted to say thank you to Sacramento for giving them, the Denver Nuggets, Mike Malone.
Oh, yes. Oh, God. Yes, we did do. And that was where we were a little hot. Those were 2 guys where it was like from him to Musselman or Musselman to him.
Yeah,
and
it was.
It became like a very, very bad thing. He was defense and they wanted offense, and we had Boogie Cousins, and it was a bad thing because Boogie Cousins got to make the rules, and he said, I don't like that guy, so then there he goes. And
no, you're wrong.
Show that...
No, he was the first coach that Boogie liked, but Boogie got hurt, And they started
Boogie
losing.
actually liked him.
He liked Malone. He was the first coach that he liked. And then Boogie got hurt, and they started losing, and they canned him before Boogie came back. And Boogie was furious and wanted out.
That's true. We were winning, and then they lost. I thought it was because Boogie didn't like him, but you're telling me Boogie.
He's the first coach he liked, and he was furious when they cut him. Yeah. Also, we were talking about that the Nuggets are an incredibly consistent franchise. They're always in the playoffs every year for like 40 years. They've been contenders. Like, that's a crazy run.
Yeah, they've had really good.
The Lakers have bottomed
Karl
out more recently than the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, they had George Karl, like, once your team disintegrated and got rid of him.
Yeah, the Sonics. I got it.
Team from your childhood. Yes, as Tony Kornheiser would say about the New York Knicks, he calls them his team of his youth. I'll call the Sonics the team of your youth. So he left. George Karl, I always thought was a great coach. I thought he was a player's coach. I loved his personality. I loved how much he talked to the media and kind of seemed like he was more real than most coaches.
An asshole.
Exactly. But I love assholes. Yeah, I have a problem.
Yeah, there's certain players that respond to it and certain ones that don't. I feel like you put Gary Payton and Sean Kemp on a coach that's like quiet, they're not going to respect him. They're not going to play for that guy.
No.
But George Karl's like, no, you're wrong. Yeah.
You're in a prison with those. Those dudes would murder you if you don't have a backbone. You can't put who's the coach of who was the coach of Kevin
Scotty
Durant?
Brooks?
Yeah, you cannot put Scotty Brooks.
Yeah.
With Gary Payton.
Oh yeah, eat him alive.
He would die. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would have been pinned up in a locker somewhere.
But yeah, Denver's been good for a long time. Had a lot of good players go through. Finally getting that MVP this year. I think everybody agrees.
Yeah, they're like the Utah Jazz. Jazz are always with no hype there. Yes,
well, the Jazz don't really have any hype.
They're San Antonio without championships.
Yes,
like both of these teams are like they're consistently there, but they just don't win because they never have a generational player that can just get them over the hump.
Yeah.
Utah got kind of close.
Yep, very close.
Denver hasn't yet. But Denver's made strides, and we'll see what they do this year. Like, the Clippers are struggling. They're going to be fighting right there at 3 and 4.
Because you know who's not in our top tandems? Kawhi and Paul George.
No. Why? Why would we even bother?
Yeah, moving on.
No,
but
they weren't even... No.
Moving on.
No.
Like,
not there. You could say two good players that play together, but are they a good tandem?
No.
That's not in our opinion.
More words than they needed.
Yes, I agree.
So that's our MVP. I think. Since we agree that that's clearly the winner, do you have a second place guy? Who's your second place guy for MVP?
Oh man, if I had to have a second place guy, it's probably getting split with because Donovan Mitchell's going to lose out with his center, who kind of wholly started this whole COVID thing.
Yeah, he
like
shut
really
down
started
the
making
league
people shut.
Yeah,
he shut down the league by making fun of it, taking light in it, and then actually contracting it
and spreading it,
and shutting down his whole team.
Yeah, so his star point guard shut down.
But it would have been
in the league.
Yeah, it would have been. It would be amazing if Gobert won MVP based on that. But like, it's probably Donovan Mitchell. But again, he has a lot of help. If he had one of those guys get hurt and they still won first place, I would say yes. But I think it's Chris Paul. Okay.
I was like, yeah, because first of all, splitting the vote in Utah. Second of all, I don't think either of those guys have the numbers.
Chris Paul
to get that. Yeah. So Chris Paul, I thought you might go Joel Embiid, but I also think Chris Paul is the MVP.
He got hurt too. He probably had it until he got hurt.
Yeah.
Embiid probably was wrapping it up and then he got hurt.
Yep. So I think Chris Paul also number 2. Great teammate, made the team better, put up great shooting stats.
He brought a team that wasn't. He was
played his role,
literally the
and made all
only
his
thing that
players
changed
better.
on that team. Yeah, he's the only person that changed on that team, and he instantly, we talked about it without knowing very much or seeing them play because of COVID, knew that Booker was going to be released and have less diligent, like he doesn't have to distribute. All he has to do is worry about being open and scoring and making plays, and all that's done is made him better.
Yeah.
And hopefully, now they know
Yeah.
what they need to get him is just like, and Chris Paul's got like 2 more years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least.
He's
so
still one of the deadliest clutch
he's
time
gonna be
players in the league.
just people didn't want to pay that contract, but that dude can play.
Yeah.
So, and he's the Players Association president, so he knows how to get his money.
Exactly. And, honestly, you're paying for a player and a coach. Speaking of Coach of the Year, 2020-2021, who's the Coach of the Year in your mind?
For me, it's Thibodeau. It's Thibodeau with the Knicks. I know we disagree on this, but again, Knicks, nobody even thought at the beginning of this year or next year that they were going to be a playoff team, and they are sitting firmly without having to have a play-in. They're going to be the 3 or 4 seed
Yep.
In the playoffs.
There's no way we saw that coming.
Like a legit, with a robotic Derrick Rose and Julius Randle, who we all knew was a great player, but did not think he was a leader. Yeah, exactly. He's the Butler of this year, like Jimmy Butler this year, where it's like he's doing things ugly, but he's getting it done in a way like he's making all his team better.
Yeah. And I do want to apologize. Last week, I did call Emmanuel Kevin Quickly. I apologize for that mistake. You deserve more. They're doing great. They're a team. One thing you get about Thibodeau, if they buy in, they're going to be good. And then eventually they tire of him, and they're not good anymore.
But you're going to have 3 really good years of him whipping the stick.
He smiled and laughed this week. That's like Tom Thibodeau first.
What?
Yeah. He laughed at a press comment. He was a human being for a second. So I get where you're coming from. I do. I think that's a good point. I think my pick is just a cover. I'm going to say it, but I'm going to throw some qualifiers on there. I think it's Monty Williams of the Phoenix Suns because of the fact that they are currently tied for first. Huge turnaround from a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. Getting the best out of young players, whereas Tom Thibodeau is just getting veterans to buy in and play because they need to now. They're this far in their career, they need to be something. But really the secret is Chris Paul is the Coach of the Year. But it'll go through the channel of Monty Williams.
Yes, I agree. Yes. We'll kind of see. Yeah, we'll kind of have to see how that plays out. Like whether or not Chris Paul wins MVP and surprises everybody and gets it. I don't think Monty Williams wins because then everybody knows why they won and it's not Monty Williams. But I could see it.
What about
I could
Quinn
see
Snyder?
it either way. I think just people want, for publicity, if you want to talk frozen envelope like we talked like last week, they want Knicks to get some love. And so I think it happens, but I'll bet you a beer any day, Ben, on this one. I think it goes to the Knicks just because people want them to be good so bad for so many years.
Yeah. If Tom Thibodeau is a beer, he's just a bowl of hops. Just bitter, nonstop, unrelenting bitterness.
Yes, he's the bitter beer face beer. Whatever that beer is, that's him. And you're like, well, it is beer.
Yeah. But yeah, what about Quinn Snyder?
It'll get you drunk
for the Jazz. Do you think Quinn Snyder's got a chance on this?
Yeah. I mean, if they had gotten the number 1 seed decisively, I think you could talk about it happening. Again, both of these teams, the ones that we were talking about before, weren't in the playoffs.
That's true.
The year before.
Yeah.
So usually that's how it goes.
Continued excellence never gets rewarded.
No, you don't. Exactly.
That's
if you
true.
win Coach of the Year, you don't win it again, even if you're the best coach. It does.
Unless you're Tom Thibodeau. Apparently.
It's always you brought somebody who shouldn't be there. Okay, now you win.
Okay.
So, or Phil Jackson had as many as he has rings, like he did.
Yeah.
So many. I don't even know. Did how many does he have Coach of the Years?
Yeah, when the Bulls had Derrick Rose going nuts and got the first seed, he won. It was like 2007, 2008, whatever it was, 2011. Who even knows what time is? But he's won.
Okay, so he's won.
Tibbs has won.
All right.
Let's see. There's not a lot of big. Do you want to go? Let's go defensive player of the year. Do you want to go defensive player of the year?
Yeah, we go defensive player of the year. To me, it's funny actually. We didn't even bring up Steph at all. Like in the MVP.
Well, he's playing for
even though he's been out of his mind. But
if they had the NFL like offensive player of the year, he'd have that.
Yeah,
but they don't. So
they don't. It's true, and like you said, continued excellence. Yeah. It's not coming out of nowhere. That's what he does. Yeah. He scores. He just starts scoring 35 or more points in the last 10 games. That's just what he does.
Yeah.
So
unremarkable.
It's not fair.
Like, what happened to Curry? Oh, he destroyed everybody again. Oh, okay.
Oh, he just shoots those shots and you can't really block it or get in his face because it's a foul. But if you do, he scores anyway.
Let me guess. He cut in for a few cool layups and a couple floaters too. Then he did some dimes because he's drawing everybody in.
He'll get easy 10 points just from you being scared he's going to shoot a three.
Then he threw some wicked dimes to a player who managed to finish a shot for the first time all season. Okay.
No. Defensive player. It's been obviously Rudy Gobert, Giannis, Jokic, I think. But yeah, I would. It's hard to take it away from Giannis again.
Yeah,
because he's played the most. But I hope Embiid wins.
Okay,
but I don't know if it's going to happen because he hadn't played enough games. But I would like to see somebody different get it. I just don't know. Maybe you could enlighten me on who you think will get it over him.
So,
because everybody else has been hurt.
This is a tough one because a lot of times defensive player of the year is the top center essentially, the last resort guy, the guy that just cleans up messes for everybody else. There's no real respect to the wing defenders. And the 76ers have the best defense in the league. The Jazz have the second best. Rudy Gobert he's won 2-3 times already?
Yeah, he's won 2 or 3.
He's great.
Giannis has won 2 or 3.
Yeah. He's great, and he's definitely gotten better at playing on the perimeter as far as Gobert is concerned. Giannis is a Swiss Army knife, can play 3 or 4 positions defensively, and there's just not a lot of respect to the ball stoppers. The guys that get out there and hound anybody who's trying to shoot three. This is a 3-point shooting league, and we're still going for the guys that can defend guys doing post ups. I don't understand.
Right? Yeah, it's because you don't get blocks and tangible stats in the perimeter.
To me, I feel like in a fair world where they really could figure out what defense means, and I just read an article where we don't know how to interpret defense with statistics. It's hard to really rate what a defender is. I think Matisse Thybulle deserves it.
Interesting.
Even though some would argue Ben Simmons is more of a Swiss Army knife, I feel like Matisse Thybulle is one of the most hounding defenders I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of guys out there. We used to have the Russells of the world that were on the Jazz, the Doug Christies, guys that were locked down.
The Bruce
perimeter
Bowens.
Guys, Bruce Bowens of the world didn't get love because unless you stole the ball and you got a tangible stat, nobody knew if you did anything good, if the guy missed on purpose, or did you do something to make him miss. So yeah, it's a good call. I hope that they eventually kind of turn that thing around. But yeah, right now it's still who makes the most blocks, who gets the most rebounds. And again, when you think about it, when we were talking about Russell Westbrook and him at the triple doubles, and congratulations to him on getting the most triple doubles. That guy's good. He's good. All right, he's good. He's still a milkshake IPA, but he's good.
Right.
It's what do rebounds even mean? Like, do you get, like, what's an offensive rebound stat? Like, if you're just getting a ball that you missed at shooting, like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? We treat it as a good thing, but is it really? So it's
how many of them are just you getting your own missed layup, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
and in a league where we've realized how important it is to get out on the break, how many people are really staying back to fight for offensive rebounds?
No,
so
exactly.
It's really just your defensive scheme. Who do you leave in there to grab those rebounds? Who's their best outlet passer? You know, that's one of the things that's wrong with the Cavaliers is that they want Kevin Love to shoot threes as opposed to being what he is, which is a tremendous rebounder and passer. And they're like, no, we don't want you to do that. We want you to be more offensive oriented.
And again, you can do that when you have an incredible talent in LeBron James who does everything else. But once he leaves, you need that guy to be Kevin Love to facilitate, get the early rebounds. He doesn't need to shoot threes. Like, that's not his job. Like,
bad planning.
His job is to spread everybody else out. Like, not to just be one of the guys on the edge. But yeah, that's clearly why they gave him like $200 million.
Yeah, and then to just use him wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
But
they're
anyway.
like, oh yeah, forgot that you played with one of the best players ever to play the game, and that's why you were used like that. Not, we're going to continue to use you like that because we don't have him anymore.
Yeah. So dumb. But defense is so tough. But I feel like, it'll probably be Giannis, Embiid, Simmons, or Gobert. But in a fair world, it's Matisse Thybulle. In a fair world, Chris Paul would have several of these. But it's not, so whatever.
Yeah. No, we agree. It should be a Chris Paul. It should be a perimeter player for a change. I actually made me want to look up the last time a perimeter player won Defensive Player of the Year, but I'm too lazy to do it, so I haven't done it yet. So let's just speculate it's never happened.
Who needs
and then we're
going to
whine about it until somebody does it.
Yeah.
But yes.
It's like, it was 4 years ago. And we're like, well, whatever.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening to us.
It was actually just last year. Which it wasn't, but
yes, that's exactly what would happen to us. That's our podcast, people. Like, that's how it works here.
There's not really many awards in the NBA. There's only sixth man, I guess. Sixth man of the year is probably like the last major award that we haven't named.
Yes, yeah, I think
most improved.
And that's probably one of the last ones where they give it to the like besides defensive player, where they'll give it to the same guy multiple years.
Mm-hmm.
Is like the Lou Williams, I think, had won it like 3 or 4 years in a row.
Jamal Crawford won a bunch.
Jamal Crawford won a ton. I don't know who I have this year. I don't know. Again, it's hard to tell like who's playing off the bench much.
With so many injuries and COVID things.
Yeah.
And like, there's no real set limit to like what constitutes a sixth man. Pretty much you can't start more than like 60% of the games, which seems like a really weird way to number that. Like, is Kevin Durant in for this? Because he keeps coming off the bench when he's like coming back from being hurt. Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. So I was like, can Anthony Davis be the sixth man of the year because he comes in and plays like half games because of his back or his knee?
He can't start the game. That's the problem. No, he's out. He actually started the games. But Kevin Durant would always come off the bench for like, late in the first quarter when he's coming back from like his 17th injury. So he probably was off the bench like 8 or 9 times. Is that, considering he only played like 13 games, that's pretty much a bench player.
No, right. I mean, it's one of these things. It's like you're good enough to play, but not good enough to start. So it's like, here you go. Here's a present. Yeah. So I guess the couple, I guess, could be like your argument between like Joe. Was it Ingles?
Yep.
Joe Ingles
on
the Jazz, and the guy he looks like. Or the 3 guys that he looks like.
Yeah.
I'm sure those all guys could
Bogdanovich,
be
also the
players
Jazz.
of the year.
Joe Harris, the Nets.
Joe Harris. Yeah, those all guys could be sixth mans of the year. I mean, but again, because of so many injuries to the Nets, so many injuries to the Jazz, are they considered even for it? I hear like there's a Jason Brunson.
Oh, Jalen Brunson,
Jalen Brunson.
For the Mavericks,
For the Mavericks.
The new JJ Barea.
Yes, and he's one of the few that started the whole Jalen conversation if Jalen Rose was the first Jalen. And did he manifest that? Did his mother manifest that name because she liked two other names and brought them together? All this kind of stuff because you see it a lot in the NBA of kids named Jalen. So it's actually interesting. It's an interesting. I love history, especially in my old age. And one of those things is like bringing that kind of stuff up. It is curious to me, but. He seems to be playing well. Again, we haven't talked much about the Mavericks because they've kind of been a floating team somewhere in the ether between. Doncic has not played really as well as I thought he would. I thought he'd be an MVP kind of conversation this year. Kind of seems like he's having kind of like his sophomore slump.
But it's his
early
third year.
Like in his third year, he's having like a sophomore slump a little later. Like he had kind of.
When you have one of the best rookie seasons of all times, and then one of the best sophomore seasons of all time.
Yes.
At some point you can't make.
You got to come down a little bit, But he's airballing threes at a record pace.
No, that's Giannis. You're thinking of Giannis.
Giannis is also doing it, but I would assume if we look up stats, which we don't do here because who does that? Why would we do it? I'm sure that they're both two at the top of the list of airball threes. But one would be surprising and one would not be surprising.
True.
But, I mean, again, he's 22, or about to be 22. So, he's going to get better. The guy's going to be ridiculous. If they were talking about players who could possibly challenge Russell Westbrook's triple-double, and I was like, it'd have to be him, right? Like, I mean, he's already like in 35 or something like that, 36 games with a triple-double, and he's 22. As long as he's healthy and he plays another 20, 10, 15 years, like, he's going to be up there. So, good for him. Again, the Mavericks, I don't know what we think of them. We'll get into that, I'm sure, next podcast, what we think when we're talking about seeding and who everybody's playing after the playoffs, the play-ins. But it should be interesting one way or the other. I think the Mavericks, you don't want to necessarily play them, but you wouldn't be surprised if they get outs in the first round either.
I'm thinking, man, I forgot people's names. Give me a second. This is what I'm going to do. So I always do. I think Joe Ingles takes it as far as that goes. He started a bunch of games, but everybody started a bunch of games, man. Maybe Bruce Brown for the Nets. Maybe.
Maybe.
That's what I was trying to remember.
We've had so many injuries to key players, like on the Celtics, on the 76ers, so it's like everybody's playing way more. So it's like, oh man, there's a lot of people getting 20 minutes a game, like 40 minutes a game. Oh, we didn't even talk rookie.
I just realized the same thing. Yeah, I was like, oh, we didn't do rookie.
We didn't do rookie, but Bruce Brown is correct. He's in the conversation as well. But rookie, I mean, I think we had it. I think we were both there. We think we had Halliburton at one point. I think we had Melo at another moment. And then they're both hurt. Yeah. So,
but that's never mattered.
Is it out of those two?
It's never mattered. It's never mattered for Rookie of the Year. You can play half the season if you're so true. Good. Joel Embiid won hurt. Zion won hurt.
Yeah,
it's
not all unusual. A promotion. It's all a promotion to get people to watch you.
Yeah.
So I think Melo wins because of it. I think Melo wins because it's a tie. I feel like they're kind of a virtual tie. Halliburton kind of had a chance, and then he had like a scary little injury there towards the end. Mm-hmm. I know they're playing it safe, so
yeah,
like that's just how it has to be.
I mean, LaMelo gives you the flash, the razzle dazzle, and the numbers, with not the games. Tyrese, I feel like will have a solid career. There's no holes in his game to speak of. But there's a lot of big push for Anthony Edwards coming through.
Sure.
And look, fine. If you want to
because he's played all the games.
Played all the games, and he's gotten better as the season progressed, for sure. But look, you don't have to give... you don't have to give Anthony Edwards...
They're not gonna get... Yeah, they're gonna pump LaMelo. They're gonna do it.
You don't have to give Anthony Edwards the Rookie of the Year because he already won an award.
Oh yeah, Goose of the Year.
Yeah, Goose of the Year. Is it the Goose?
He's the Goose of the Year.
The Dunk of the Year. Someone call the ER. Anthony Edwards is operating without a license. That's a 1994 television drama joke for the listeners out there. Revenge of the Wolves?
Revenge of the Wolves. Oh my. Yeah. Yes, he
I didn't have a thing that
clearly was been posterizing all year long. He posterized my Kings. He posterized everybody. He has no fear. He knows he's athletic. He knows he's one of the best. He's Ja Morant. Just he needs to figure out how to make people better. But he can finish dunks where Ja Morant can't necessarily finish dunks all the time, but he tries to finish dunks. So it's like give or take. What do you want? Like, do you want your Memphis team to make the playoffs but then lose eventually? Or do you want a guy who just is raw talent, is just out of the gym? Like, they didn't miss with that pick at number 2, right? That was basically their pick at number 2. I think they got who they wanted. That guy's going to be really good, but it's probably going LaMelo. That's our choice.
Yeah, for sure. And before we get out of here, Phil, we got to do one more thing. We got to prognosticate. We got to plan the future. The listeners will know the answer to these questions, but we do not know the answer to these questions. It's these open playoff spots and the play-in games. The play-in games don't make any sense now. For those unaware, there's now still 8 playoff spots, but there's secretly 10 playoff spots where people compete for the 7th and 8th spot. Teams 7 and 8 play each other. The winner, 7th place. Then the teams 9 and 10 at the same time are playing each other. The winner goes on to play the loser of the 7 and 8 game. And then those two play each other, and then whichever one wins is the 8th seed. So the 10th seed can move to an 8th seed, a 7th seed can move to a 10th seed, and it's all a mess.
Yes, it totally makes sense when you think about it. Not at all.
Yes,
it totally puts the 1 and the 2 seed in a peril where they can't prepare for the 7th and 8th seed because they don't know who they're going to play, and then also it puts like more games on the 7th and 8th seeds to prove themselves that they deserve to eventually lose in the first round. Yeah.
It's fair. It's already stacked against them. So sure, let's do it that way. So before we get to that, there's only one part where it's not solved who is and is not in this play-in. It's the Trailblazers and the Lakers, basically tied for 6th and 7th. So we got to figure out who wins that game tomorrow. So tomorrow, which is Sunday, the 16th. We're recording this on Saturday for the listeners.
We're recording this on Saturday night.
Because we don't plan. The Lakers are playing at New Orleans, and Portland is playing at home against Denver.
Yes.
Portland currently
where
the 6th
Denver
seed.
needs to win because Denver is also tied with the Clippers for the 3rd and 4th seed, but they own the tiebreaker, but they're both at 41 wins, so somebody has to get to stay ahead. So Denver's going to play tough.
Yeah.
We would assume the Clippers are going to play tough because they have an easy win.
Yeah, against Oklahoma City. Yeah. So Denver has to play to win.
So you either going to get the Warriors and the Lakers, or you're going to get in the first, in a first round, our first 1-game play-in, to see who then has to play a second game, second elimination game, basically, to get in, or the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
Playing with the Warriors. So the Warriors are pretty much locked in to the 8th seed.
Well, here's the thing. They're tied with Memphis for that 8th seed, and guess who they play? Each other.
Each other, yes.
They play each other, and they're tied. So the winner of that determines 8th and 9th as well.
8th and 9th, and whether or not, again, you're playing, because 8 and 9 don't play each other like a sensible person would say that you should.
Yeah, it means something.
They're playing opposite teams. The 9th is gonna play the 10th seed.
Yeah, I think on that one, I think you play to lose that one. I feel like you play to lose that one.
I think you do too, because you want your odds better, right?
You can beat the Spurs. You can beat the Spurs, and then you let the Blazers and the Lakers beat the shit out of each other. You know,
and then you get them on the second night, whatever it is. You play them the next night. So it's like, why wouldn't you take? You have to play more games, but you rather go in hot than. And then you take
if you end up being the team that wins, you play your best against the Lakers or the Blazers. Like, duh.
Yeah.
But you'd rather lose.
Yeah. I would assume John Moran would think that way, considering they feel like they got hosed in the bubble, which they kind of did, but it didn't help that the Suns went undefeated. But yeah, like I feel like they needed. I think they'll play it safe just to be in it. You get John Morant some prime time. Again, yes. Can they beat the Spurs? Probably. Yeah. Like, will they beat the Lakers or the Blazers? Probably not. But it's like you rather take your chances with that than trying to play really hard and have Steph score 40 on you. And again, you hope that too. Like, I think all these teams want Steph and LeBron and them to have to give everything that they have, like just to make it, just to give themselves some type of an equal chance. When you're the Jazz and the Suns, you don't want to. You finally get like a number 1 seed or number 2 seed, and then who you get? The same person you would have gotten if you were a 7 or 8 seed 2 years ago. Yeah.
Well, okay. I was looking at this again, and I think the Warriors play to win because they know they're playing lights out right now. I think the Grizzlies play to win, but are fine with losing. But I feel like when they see in the third quarter they're down 12, there's like, call it. We're going to call it. We're not going to put our energy into this. We're putting it into the next game. So
yes, I would think that the Warriors would rather play the Suns than play the Jazz. Not that they have a lot of choice in it, but I think matchup-wise, the Jazz probably expose them
a lot
more than the Suns do, because you have too much dominance on the inside for if it's Gobert.
Neutralizes Draymond Green.
Yeah, and Mitchell can get the points to counteract Curry. Yeah, and then you have Connolly and Ingles and all the other guys. All the other guys that look exactly the same.
And more guys and another guy.
And more European guys and then more European guys.
Yeah. So, all right, let's just call it right now. Between the Blazers and the Lakers playing for the 6th seed, who do you think comes away with the 6th seed? Lakers or Blazers?
Lakers.
Same. All right, so we've established the Blazers in the 7th place. Okay, so between Warriors and Grizzlies, who ends up in 8th?
Warriors.
Great.
We both agree.
Perfect. Yes. So then we've got the Blazers playing the Warriors. Who do you got winning that game?
Warriors.
Me too. Okay, then we got the Grizzlies playing the Spurs. Who do you got winning that game? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
No,
I'm correct. Yeah. Grizzlies versus Spurs. Who do you got winning that one?
We have Grizzlies.
I'm fine with that as well. Okay, so we're in complete agreement on this one. And now we've handled the easy Grizzlies, part. Somehow this
Portland.
is the easy. Yeah. Well, the Grizzlies would be playing.
They would play Portland.
No, they play the Jazz. No, that's done.
No, but so if Portland
you're
loses,
right. Shit.
They have to play again. Against the Grizzlies.
No.
So then
you're right.
Whoever loses one of the
Grizzlies versus Blazers. Jesus Christ.
I know. This is why. This is what I talked to you about, which is horrible.
All right, so Grizzlies.
Is that they have to play a second elimination
Grizzlies v. Blazers. That's a tough one.
So do you have so the real question is, do the Grizzlies beat the Blazers?
You know what? You can't. The heart of a champion lies in Dame Lillard. Unfortunately, it lies in nobody else on his team.
That's true.
The Grizzlies, young,
Mr. Clutch,
well-rounded, players at every position, guys that can do multiple things. You want to root for them.
They're a young core team.
Are they ready to take down Dame, though? Together. Are they ready to take down Dame? If the Chandler Parsons Rockets couldn't do it, how are the John Morant Grizzlies doing
how
it?
Are they going to? Who's going to? John Morant is not a good defender.
Yeah.
He's a good facilitator.
Dame's getting loose.
Plays. But Dame's going to get his points.
Dame's
going to get his points. In one game?
And Nurkic is healthy again, right?
Or 49.
And Nurkic is healthy again, right? So, yeah, like...
Nurkic, Anthony...
He's going to beast everybody.
They're stacked. They're stacked with...
He's going to beat up those young guys. He's going to beat them up.
Yeah. So we think they lose twice.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we think Memphis wins one to get to the play-in, the second play-in, and then loses to Portland.
Right.
Then Portland becomes the 8th seed.
Yeah. The Warriors
plays the Suns. Oh, no. Portland will be the 7th seed. That's right. They'll play the Jazz.
No. So you're saying the Suns get number 1?
I think the Suns in the number 1 seed, right? Are they not ahead right now?
No, the Jazz are ahead.
Oh, I thought they were ahead. Okay, so Jazz are number 1.
Let's see who the Jazz play tomorrow. The Jazz are playing Sacramento, so that's a win.
That's a win.
And the Suns,
so they locked the number 1.
And the Suns are playing San Antonio, who have nothing to play for besides like getting ready for that play-in game. So yeah, I think the Jazz take it. So sorry, unfortunately, the Warriors are 7. They play the Suns, and the Trailblazers are 8, and they play the Jazz. Whew. And that's the easiest.
No, so that works for, so I feel like that works for, well, so Golden State is technically the 8th seed, right?
No, they're the 7th seed if they win that first game.
Oh, so whoever loses, so we're saying somebody's going to lose the 7th seed is going to lose. Or we talked about the Lakers might lose.
The Lakers lose.
Or
Lakers win and play, and then they become the 7th seed. But because they're there, they play
Portland
the 8th
loses
seed.
Their
the
first
Warriors,
game,
but they lose that game to the Warriors, putting the Warriors in 7th. Fuck this fucking thing.
I know the stupid play.
That was complex, and somehow the Eastern Conference is worse because right now there is a 3-way tie for 8th. So we've got games played. We got the Hornets, the Wizards, and the Pacers all tied for 8th. Tomorrow determines everything. The Pacers are playing at Toronto. Boston is playing at New York. Charlotte is playing at Washington. Oh, Boston, by the way, is the 7th seed.
Boston's pretty much in.
There's the 7th seed. Sorry. That's okay. So Indiana's playing at Toronto. That's probably a win. Charlotte and Washington are playing each other at Washington, and that will determine 7th, 8th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. 8th,
9th, and 10th.
Sorry.
So they're all in. We don't know the order of which they're going to be in. But they're all in.
The way I'm interpreting this is if Charlotte, the best the Pacers can do is the 9th seed. They will be in a tiebreaker with whoever wins Hornets Wizards. They lose that tiebreaker, so they're the 9th seed regardless. So the Hornets and Wizards are playing for 8th and 10th. So who do you think wins between Hornets and Wizards?
Out of this jumble, if we said it right
but if the Pacers lose, they're in 10th. Done, not a question.
Right.
But if they win, which they will, because they're playing Toronto, who's been terrible.
In. They're going to be 10th.
Although Toronto's prideful, they might play just to fuck them.
I think Washington beats Charlotte with no LaMelo still.
Yeah.
I think Washington becomes the 9th or the 8th seed.
Hornets 9.
And then they'll end up playing
the Celtics.
So they'll end up playing each other again.
Nope, because they play the 7th seed if they're the 8th seed.
Oh, right. So if they're the 8th seed, they play 7th seed. So then they'll play Boston. Boston's a mess. They're a mess. I want to root for them. You would think.
Yeah. I love the players individually. I like that they want to play together as a team.
So then they become. So I think Washington becomes the 7th seed.
Yep.
Boston then plays.
Nope. Boston plays the winner of Hornets.
Winner of Hornets, Indiana.
Yeah. So they have to figure out who wins that game.
I think Indiana's not bad. I think they're coming together with all those pieces that they got from all those trades. The Oladipo trade, like LeVert, is working out.
I love Karis
Sabonis is becoming his own man. That's a tandem,
Miles
Turner's
in that running for Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah. I think they can put it together for one game to beat the Hornets, who are kind of a mess.
Sure. they're a year away. The Hornets, they're fun. They were fun to watch, but they're not there yet. They wouldn't even be in this conversation if there was an 8th seed. Like, I mean, they'd be there, but they wouldn't win it. I'm saying, I say Indiana beats Charlotte.
Okay, so then Indiana now plays Boston for the 8th seed.
And I hope Boston wins.
Yeah, but you can't count on them.
But you can't. Like, I want Tatum. Tatum puts up 50, and I could still see him losing.
Yeah.
Like, I want Boston should be the A seed.
Boston should be the 5 seed, honestly.
Well,
but they're not.
Right,
but
honestly,
they're not.
But they're not. They're not. So
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I think Boston wins out, and I think the two that end up coming out of it are Washington and Boston.
Yeah.
But would I be surprised if it wasn't? No, I would not. No, I would not.
It's a mess in there.
Yeah, we thought the West was a mess. This is just floating garbage in the sea. Like, this is like, what are we watching here?
Yeah. So we're going to do our best to do weekly episodes throughout the playoffs to kind of keep abreast of what the hell is going on, this madness.
I know how much you guys want this.
Yeah, we know you guys are like, that's what we came here for. So we've given you what we think is going to happen tomorrow that you'll know already the answer to. Let's see how good we are at guessing how the NBA in the most unpredictable season of all time. See how it plays out. We did forget one award that's major, most improved players. It's Julius Randle by.
Yeah, he's pretty much got that.
We already talked about it last week briefly. Yeah.
Most improved coach, Tom Thibodeau. Like, it's whatever you like. I mean, they're the New York Knicks. They're going to clean up at the Oscars of awards.
You're right. You know what? I don't know why we did this thing. 6th Man of the Year, Emmanuel Quickly. Rookie of the Year, Emmanuel Quickly. Coach of the Year, Tom Thibodeau. Most improved player, Julius Randle.
What are we thinking?
It's all Knicks, baby.
New York's going to get the love. Yes, New York.
Out here at Please Dunk Responsibly, we got tons of frozen envelopes, bro. Tons of them.
We know it's going to happen. Just give it to them already, all right? We're disgusted. Disgusted. There's no real vote. We know what's happening
here. All right, we need to get out of here. This is too long.
We do.
We got lives to live. We did it.
So we have a third Canning Tracer.
Oh, shit. You're right. We had a candidate.
I hate to be that guy, but we promised them 3 beers.
We did promise them 3 beers. And, I hate to be that guy also, but when it comes to playoff time, you got to bring the ones that'll bring you to the championship. You can't be playing around with these Pilsners and Porters and Stouts. You got to bring the heavy hitters. You got to bring those IPAs, those bold, brash guys to the table. We've already brought you 2.
Picks.
We got your hop homies from Claimstake and Weathered Souls. We got your Riders on the Storm with Karl Strauss and Beachwood. What's that third one, Phil?
I think it's got to be Dirt Days from Crooked Lanes. It's a solid West Coast style IPA. It's delicious. They're crushing it. If we didn't talk about them too much on this podcast already, Crooked Lanes, go out there. I know it's in Buttfucket, Egypt. It's really hard to get to unless you live in that area. But make the drive. It's worth it. They have some beautiful beers out there. There's some beautiful scenery along the ways. Some other breweries are really close, as well as some good tap rooms out there. Check out Crooked Lanes. They're doing amazing beers.
Let me just tell you, it's not that hard to get there. You take the 80 East, you get off on the 49, you take a left. It's on your right a mile up the road. It's very easy to get there.
You made it seem
you should get there. You should get there like June 17th at about 7 p.m. That's what I'm going to say. We're bringing in outdoor comedy. Late night.
Go.
It might be 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I don't remember what we agreed to on the time. But
school. It won't be a school night.
It will be a school night. Thursday night. Oh, that's a good point. Good point. We'll be doing the schooling.
There you go.
That's fine.
Yeah, parents, let yourself loose a little bit, huh? Go out there, make it happen. Get vaxxed so we can go outside and have a good time again, baby. Let's go.
Yes, sir. And it's a month away. That's plenty of time to get your shot. Wait, get your second shot. Boom. Done.
Boom,
if you haven't done
let's
it,
go.
get it. When you're hearing this, just go get a shot, and your second shot will be 3 days before
if you
that
go
show.
the day you hear this, you have plenty of
Time to get the first and second before that show. You won't be here 2 weeks out, but you will be twice vaccinated. I mean, honestly, they're free.
Which will increase your odds a lot that you won't get sick, which is the whole point of all of this, and you won't get anybody else, which is another thing. Yeah. Like, just do it for everybody else if you don't do it for yourself. Let's give vaccinated people. We're almost there.
If vaccines were a beer, they'd be a milkshake IPA. Some people want to, and some people don't want any of them.
Some people want to, and some people
don't want any at all.
Definitely don't want to. But we'll drink Zimas instead. Like, I mean, it's just how it is. Like, it's the way of the world. We are flawed as humans.
By Zima. Yeah. All right. That's enough. We've clearly past our bedtime.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's the show. Come back next week. We'll be doing weekly episodes.
Yes.
I'm also doing weekly episodes of Barley Me right now. I'm stupid and trying to do comedy. I don't know. And
he's so
being in a relationship.
Busy. Stop being so busy. Will you take a nap or something?
I try so hard. I can't do it. All right. That's the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been Ben Rice.
And I'm Phil Webster.
Telling you
to please
dunk responsibly.